The moment you stop explaining yourself, something strange happens. People don't relax. They don't feel closure. They feel uncomfortable. Because explanation was never for clarity, it was control. And when you remove control, you expose insecurity. Most people think silence means weakness. In reality, silence is what reveals who holds the power. Today, you'll understand why the most respected people don't rush to speak, don't justify their choices, and never beg to be understood. This isn't motivation. This is psychology. This is mind sense. The human brain is wired to fear uncertainty. Silence creates uncertainty. When someone doesn't explain themselves, the brain loses predictability, and the brain hates unpredictability. That's why people talk too much. That's why they over-clarify. That's why they defend even when no one attacked. They're not communicating, they're self-soothing. Silence forces the mind inward. Instead of reacting to your words, people start reacting to their own thoughts. And that's where power shifts. Every unnecessary explanation sends a message. Not consciously, psychologically. The message is, I need you to understand me. But high-status individuals don't need understanding. They allow misunderstanding. They don't chase perception. They don't manage impressions. They let ambiguity exist. And ambiguity creates authority. The moment you over-explain, you place yourself beneath the listener. You seek validation instead of commanding presence. People explain for 3 hidden reasons: fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of being misunderstood. But here's the truth. Being misunderstood is not dangerous. Being desperate to be understood is. When you remove the need to explain, you remove emotional dependence. And emotional independence is one of the most attractive human traits. Explanation gives others leverage. The more you explain, the more material you give them to judge, twist, or question. Silence removes leverage. No angles, no entry points, no emotional access. People can't argue with silence. They can only interpret it. And interpretation happens on their side, not yours. When you stop explaining, people replay the interaction. They ask, why didn't they respond? Did I say something wrong? What do they really think? You occupy mental space without saying a word. This is how influence works, not by speaking louder, but by leaving gaps. Predictable people feel safe, but safety creates familiarity, and familiarity creates neglect. Unpredictable people feel important. When your reactions slow down, people become cautious. When your words become minimal, people pay attention. You don't need to dominate conversations. You let silence do the work. If this perspective feels uncomfortable, it means your awareness is expanding. This is the kind of psychology we break down on Mind Sense. Stay with me. Most people misuse silence. They use it emotionally. They use it as punishment. They use it to appear mysterious. That fails. Because forced silence feels fake. Real silence is calm. It's not reactive. It's grounded. People don't respect silence born from ego. They respect silence born from self-control. Emotional silence comes from anger, feels tense, seeks reaction. Strategic silence comes from clarity, feels stable, seeks peace. People can feel the difference instantly. One repels, the other commands respect. The moment you stop explaining yourself, you stop negotiating your worth. You don't argue your value. You don't justify boundaries. You don't defend decisions. You act. And action is the loudest form of communication. Notice this pattern. The person who speaks least often controls the room. The one who reacts slowest is hardest to manipulate. The one who doesn't justify themselves rarely gets challenged. This isn't coincidence, it's psychological hierarchy. The human mind obsesses over what it can't fully understand. When you stop explaining, you become incomplete information, and incomplete information creates fixation. People fill the gaps themselves. You don't demand attention, you attract it. Silence is powerful, but dangerous if misused. If you use silence to control others, it becomes manipulation. If you use silence to protect yourself, it becomes strength. Intent matters. Energy matters. People feel authenticity more than strategy. Adopt this belief: I don't owe explanations for my boundaries. This belief changes your posture, your tone, your presence. People respond to certainty, not justification. Leaders don't argue, they decide. Strong personalities don't overreact, they observe. Respected individuals don't explain themselves repeatedly, they let patterns speak. Silence is not absence, it's discipline. At first, silence feels risky. Your mind says, what if they misunderstand me? What if I lose connection? But connection built on explanation is fragile. Connection built on presence is stable. Let people adjust. When you stop explaining, you feel calmer. Others feel uncertain. You gain control. This loop reinforces itself. Confidence grows internally before it's recognized externally. You don't need to be understood by everyone. You need to be grounded in yourself. Those who matter will adapt. Those who don't were never aligned. The moment you stop explaining yourself, you stop chasing approval. And when you stop chasing, people start paying attention. This is how we decode human behavior on MindSense. If this shifted how you see people, subscribe. Awareness is power.